In this video, I want to have a look at expected values or expected outcomes. So rather than repeating an experiment hundreds or thousands of times, what we can do is we can perform a smaller number of trials, and then we can use our results to estimate what the outcome would be if we were to perform a large number of trials. So to do that, we can calculate the expected value by taking the probability of an event or an outcome and multiplying that by the number of repetitions we're considering. So for example, our first question says a cylindrical can was tossed 80 times. The number of times it landed on its side and its end are shown in this table here. So 28 times it landed on an end and 52 times it landed on its side. It asks us first to find the relative probabilities or the relative frequencies of each of those outcomes. So the probability of it landing on its side would be 52 out of 80, and the probability of it landing on its end would be 28 out of 80. Now we could simplify those down, but we're not going to do that just for now. Part B says if the can was tossed 400 times, how many times would we expect it to land on its side? So to figure that calculation out, we're going to take, because we're looking at side, we're going to take the probability of it landing on its side, which was this 52 out of 80, and we're going to multiply that by the number of repetitions, which was this 400 times. So we're going to go 52 out of 80 multiplied by 400 to get our answer for that one. So we've got 52 over 80, and we're going to multiply that by 400. So it'll tell us 260. So if we were to flip that can 400 times, we would expect it to land on its side 260 times. All right, the next one says if the can was tossed 360 times, how many times would we expect it to land on an end? So this time we've got our end was 28 over 80. We're going to multiply that by the number of trials, which in this question is 360. So again, we're going to go to that 28 over 80 and multiply that by 360, which gives us 126 times. All right, our second question says 400 people were randomly selected and asked from what country their car was manufactured. It asks us to find the relative frequency of these four things, and then we're going to have a look at expected values. So the relative frequency that a car was manufactured in Australia would be 85 out of that total of 400. So the probability of it being in Australia is 85 out of 400. The probability of it being manufactured in Germany would have been 108 out of that 400. Of Japan would be 112 out of 400. And a country other than Australia, so that means either Japan, Germany, or other. So we're going to write that as probability of not A. So that's that A with a little squiggle above it. And that's going to be our three others. So we're going to have our 112 plus 108 plus 95 gives us 315. So we're going to have 315 out of 400. The other way we could have figured that out is we know that there were 400 people surveyed, so we could go 400 minus the number who answered that their car was manufactured in Australia, which would give us the 315 as well. So two different ways to figure that question out. All right, the next question said if 3,500 people were surveyed, how many would we expect to own cars manufactured in Japan? So in Japan was that 112 over 400. And we're going to survey 3,500 people. So we'll multiply by 3,500. We'll end up with 112 divided by 400. And then times 3,500 would be 980 people. And the last one, a country other than Australia, would be our 315 over 400, which we've got from here, multiplied by our 3,500. So 315 divided by 400 times 3,500, 2,756.25, But because we're talking about people, let's round that off to approximately 2,756 people, because we can't have 0.25 of a person. All right, so that's a look at expected values.